It's fake. It's simply, this is a fake headline, and the news is suggesting I want households to pay $2,600 a year is just plain silly. It is wrong.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch. And that was Nick Xenophon pulling the fake news trigger last week and brandishing a big red pen to strike out the Australian's front page story by Simon Benson, which made this damaging claim.
Xenophon's levy plan to hit families. Medicare hike to cost up to $2,600 a year.
So, was Xenophon right to call that headline fake news? Well, the South Australian senator, who is blocking government welfare cuts, certainly has canvassed an increase in the Medicare levy.
My personal view is I'd rather see a small increase in the Medicare levy, Medicare surcharge, in the sense that I think that would be more equitable to fund the NDIS.
But Xenophon has never said how much, and the Australian didn't bother to ask. So, would families really be paying up to $2,600? No, says Xenophon. As he told the Australian after their front page attack, the maximum slug would be $600, and only middle to high income earners would pay. So, maybe not fake news, but certainly wrong. And the Oz wasn't the only News Corp paper to take aim at him.
So this one here, it's a beauty. This is more in the realm of silly news.
Well, actually not news at all. Just a nasty ad hominem attack on the front page of The Telegraph, where the news should be.
Nick off, the backwater senator who's a threat to us all.
And the Telly's chief political correspondent, Sharry Markson, was given carte blanche to insult both the man,
a self-absorbed politician from a backwater town called Adelaide,
and the state he represents.
A near-broke state that is draining its economically sound neighbours dry and cannot even keep its lights on.
And inside the telly there was yet more of the same.
Mouth of the South is told to shut up.
Excruciating! Self-promoting senator is stifling our economy. Self-aggrandising Senator Nick Xenophon, whose home state of South Australia has become an economic basket case, appears to be trying to do the same to the rest of the country.
Now, we're all for freedom of speech, but the news columns should not be given over to opinionated rants like that, designed to bully people the telly doesn't agree with. Sadly, however, that's the way it is nowadays. And who says? Well, strident Conservative columnists like Paul Sheehan and Miranda Devine, for starters.
This seems to be where the media is going, where the measured middle seems to be sort of passé now. The impartial, cool, detached, analytical coverage of events.
Or what we were taught in journalism school.
Basically, that's gone because now everybody has to be in a froth of outrage and opinion, and you can't tell what's news and what's opinion anymore.
And there was always meant to be a huge separation between opinion and news, and clearly labelled opinion, and news was supposed to be the facts. You gave both sides and you tried to give the truth as best you could.
Wonderful, isn't it? Miranda Devine is a star columnist on The Telegraph, which had that very morning devoted so much of its news columns to those bullying attacks. And Paul Sheehan's disregard for facts in this infamous column, highlighted on Media Watch last year, saw him suspended from the Herald, never to return. And while we're on the subject of bullying, let's turn now to television and tune into Channel 7's sexy new legal drama.
Lovers' friends slam TV bullies.
Yes, the long-running saga of Seven's CEO Tim Warner and his ex-lover Amber Harrison, with its claims of hot sex, cocaine, misuse of company credit cards and the payment of $330,000 of hush money, has captivated audiences. But it's definitely not for broadcast.
The company is trying to contain the fallout from an affair between a former executive assistant and Seven's chief executive officer, Tim Warner, which has turned into a very messy public fracas. Amber Harrison broke her silence about the relationship in salacious detail in December, and now her former employer has sought to gag the 39-year-old in the courts.
Last Monday, Seven won a sweeping ex parte injunction, that is without Harrison or her lawyers being able to argue the toss, which not only bars Harrison from
disclosing, copying or reproducing any confidential information,
but also gags her from saying anything to anyone about the affair and its aftermath and how she feels. Or, as the injunction puts it,
making any adverse statement about, publicly disparaging or otherwise bringing into disrepute the company.
And it has certainly worked. within hours of the order, Twitter took down a series of Harrison's tweets containing texts, emails and documents from her time at Seven, while Google wiped search results from the internet. Meanwhile, Harrison did succeed in posting this protest on Twitter.
Australia's leading media company doesn't want you to know the truth, threatening me with jail if I continue to speak. What are they hiding?
Harrison urged the rest of the media to fight the injunction. But in the meantime, they were being bombarded with legal letters from Seven warning them not to breach it.
In the event that your organisation is considering publishing or otherwise dealing with any information disclosed, directly or otherwise by Ms Harrison, we recommend that you consider the potential consequences.
Seven, of course, has been able to continue saying anything it likes. And one of its directors, Jeff Kennett, has been doing just that. Arguing with Harrison on Twitter.
Sadly not true, Amber. Tell the truth.
Writing a lengthy defence of Seven in a number of newspapers, including Seven's West Australian, which, surprise, surprise, had barely covered the scandal till then.
Time to set records straight.
And admonishing Harrison and her defenders on national radio.
Please, for goodness sake, we have tried, bent over backwards, to address her issues. We have financially compensated her to the extent of approximately $330,000. And you ask me, is that fair?
Meanwhile, of course, as Harrison observed, she was prevented from hitting back.
When Jeff is attacking me in next 7 days, he is attacking me with my hands tied behind my back, gagged by a court.
Tomorrow in Sydney, Harrison will be in the Supreme Court to fight the injunction and Seven's army of silks. We doubt she'll succeed in lifting it altogether, but there must be some chance she'll loosen the gag. Because as Michael Bradley of Mark Lawyers told Crikey,
injunctions might be common, but the ones levied against Harrison are unusually wide. They effectively silence her completely.
Meanwhile, whatever the merits of the case, Seven's attempts to silence Harrison by paying her off, then using the courts to shut her up, have been a PR disaster. For Seven, its CEO Tim Warner, and the man who's stuck by him, Seven's chairman and major shareholder Kerry Stokes. As business commentator Stephen Mayne told 7:30 last week,
to seek such a wide-ranging injunction that is extremely restrictive in any public statements that she can make just was an overreach for a media company and will perpetuate this image of powerful men using the resources of $1 billion company to conduct sort of so-called lawfare against a woman who's got not much left.
It's hard to disagree. Meanwhile, lost in all the noise was much more important news, that Seven's profits for the 6 months to December were down 91% from the previous year to a paltry $12 million. Meanwhile, Channel 10 is faring even worse, forecasting losses of up to $30 million in 2017. And this when the economy is doing OK. So we asked Roger Coleman of CCZ Equities what all that means.
Is the industry in terminal decline? No. The question is the market structure in Australia can't support 3 commercial television networks and 2 government-funded ones with 25 million people.
So not the best time for Seven's top management to be fighting such a bruising public battle, which has now been going for 2 months and may bring more damaging headlines this week. But now let's switch to the perils of court reporting and how not to learn a lesson, starring Max Margan of the Daily Mail and Crystal Johnson of Yahoo 7, which last week copped a $300,000 fine for contempt of court. Johnson made it onto Media Watch last year when she caused a Melbourne murder trial to be aborted. And she was hauled into that same Melbourne court 3 weeks ago to face the music, as the Daily Mail told its readers.
Prosecutors call for reporter and Yahoo 7 to be convicted and fined for contempt of court after news story led to a mistrial.
Johnson's crime, as the Mail told us, was to break the golden rule of court reporting and publish information that had not been revealed to the jury. This she did by adding
details she had lifted from an earlier court hearing.
And as the Mail explained, she did this because
she had not been in court covering the case.
Naughty, naughty. So, where was the Mail reporter writing of Crystal's misdeeds? Well, he wasn't in court either, because he was 900 kilometres away in Sydney, rewriting the Ages court report and stealing large chunks.
Justice Lex Lasry ordered a retrial over worries that the accused man would not receive a fair trial. The report contained material that had not been put to a Supreme Court jury.
Poetic, eh? The Mail rips off a court story about a journalist ripping off a court story. But it gets better, because 9 days later, another Mail reporter, Max Margan, managed to repeat Johnson's mistake to a T in a manslaughter trial in Brisbane.
Outside court, Palmer's lawyer outlined how close the trial got to being aborted, slamming the Daily Mail for publishing information that hadn't been presented to the jury.
Yes, just over a week after writing about Johnson's contempt charge, the copycats at the Mail copied her crime and nearly caused another mistrial. As the accused's lawyer, Bruce Peters, told Media Watch,
Max Margan and the Daily Mail have done what's referred to in the industry as a cut and paste job. It seems like they've ripped other people's work off. They've turned around, republished it as their own, and they've done it irresponsibly without even being in court to verify what they're talking about.
Yes, Max Margan, whose career highlights so far include the infamous Sam Armitage Granny Pants story, for which the Mail was forced to apologise, had covered the case from his desk in Sydney, 950 kilometres away, where he
sourced wire copy, took slabs of an ABC article and inserted background information that was not put before the jury.
Luckily for Margan, the judge, defence and prosecution decided not to abort the Brisbane trial. But as Bruce Peters explains, it could easily have gone the other way.
Any reporter who's worth his salt knows is during the trial you only report on what is being said in court. Now, in Max's case, he wrote an article during the course of the trial. He wasn't present in court. It was totally irresponsible to be quoting me from 2015, and that quote was never in the evidence. And it could have had a major detrimental effect on the trial, such as to cause a mistrial, which would be a huge expense to everyone. You know, the defendant, the state, having to discharge the jury and then start over again.
After Johnson's conviction for contempt, which landed her a good behaviour bond, Yahoo 7 has decided it won't do court reports unless its reporter is there, and that all court reports will have to be properly legaled. It beggars belief that the Mail, which is the fourth most popular news site in Australia, has not done the same. Maybe now it will. And finally tonight, to a former sports star caught in the media gaze. And I'm not talking about Grant Hackett and his painful public struggle. James Hird of Essendon fame and infamy was also back in the spotlight 2 weeks ago. And while the Australian had him on the front page, it was the Daily Mail, again, who really went to town.
A slim and smiling James Hird leaves his home in Melbourne to go for a coffee with a friend at a local cafe, as the AFL legend is seen for the first time since his drug overdose.
The Daily Mail, which has an insatiable thirst for celebrity tales, posted no less than 13 photos of Hird walking near his house, most of them with this mystery woman.
The former Essendon AFL coach looked trim as he left his family home in Melbourne's upmarket Toorak with a female friend.
A female friend, eh? So who could it be? Well, as the Daily Mail told us, it was not his wife.
Hird's wife, Tanya, who has remained tight-lipped about his overdose, except to ask the media for privacy, was not pictured as the pair caught up.
Well, they're clearly close. And are you thinking what I'm thinking? Well, don't, because that is not his lover. As a furious Hird family member told us,
if it is so important that James's companion must appear in 13 photographs, surely the public has the right to her being named as his sister, so there is no doubt about details of James's personal life.
Yes, it's Hird's sister Amelia, as the Mail could have discovered. And after all that James Hird and his family's been through over the last 4 years, surely it's time anyway to give the guy a break.
James has paid an enormous penalty. He has suffered illness that has threatened to kill him. His family has endured years of their life being considered public property. There is little that should be of any interest left for the public. The Hird family is entitled to retreat to a private life and protect itself from invasion of privacy.
We agree, and especially protection from nasty, suggestive articles like that. And you can read more about tonight's stories on our Facebook page or our website, where you can get a transcript and download the programme. You can also contact me or Media Watch on Twitter. And don't miss our new online show, Media Bites, every Thursday evening on Facebook, Twitter and our website. But for now, until next week, that's all from us. Goodbye.